So today we have a special guest, Sharon Francis. She's the chief of the board of tourism of Seychelles, which is far away from here. But it's not that far away if it concerns some issues like plastic, like pollution, because even in your wonderful sea, on your wonderful beaches, you have some pollution, isn't it?
Yes, very true, very true. And a lot of times it's waste that not normally produced by Seychelles. It could be places in the surrounding, but which is washed up by waves on our shores.
So you did something very special, which was something more than 1 year ago. You forbid. You just said stop the plastics. How did it work?
I would say when the announcement was made at first, there was a lot of resistance, especially from the business community, because, of course, habitually this is how we've been operating. You know, every time you go to a shop, you just pick up a plastic bag and put your stuff in there. It's a practice that would have been very difficult to stop. And of course, when it comes to other items like plastic cups and plates and cutleries, it was people used it a lot, and businesses producing these kind of items felt that they would be out of business. But once the implementation started, it was a very natural flow, quite very fast. Mostly everybody managed to find alternatives. They were carrying around their bags to the shops instead of having to get plastic bags, which actually was not available anymore. So they will have to buy bags, proper environmentally friendly bags at the shop. So most people were carrying around their bags. And in terms of disposable items, this has been replaced by more environmentally friendly options as well. So I would say it has been a very natural transition, but of course, which is very good for the country, for the ocean, and for the world in general.
Did you do anything in order to help producers to convert to other kind of productions, or the sellers of those who import plastics?
I believe there was a lot of campaign that was being done by the government on the matter, and by nature of that, a lot of people came forward. A handful of people came forward actually and looked for business opportunities in importing environmentally friendly items that can be used, but existing businesses as well who were actually importing plastic bags, they also look for other alternatives. So nowadays, when you go to shops, like I said, you see environmentally friendly bags, cloth bags, paper bags, everything, but of course the plastic itself.
So you did a wonderful thing, cleaning up the beaches, and no economic shock, as I understand, no financial shock because of that. Even the contrary, maybe. How did tourists accept all this?
Actually, it's something which has been very welcome, because, as you know, a lot of our visitors to Seychelles are actually very environmentally discerning visitors. And I have to say, 1 year ago, I had an interview on another media about the plastic bans. And the overwhelming amount of comments I received from people who had watched the program was quite interesting, because a lot of them, they were so happy and applauded the initiatives by Seychelles, and actually stated, some of them stated, I'm so looking forward to visit this beautiful islands who are, even though you're so small, but you've done a huge step towards preserving our ocean. So just these comments, some of them I received via Facebook, some of them I received via our High Commissioner's office in London. It was quite encouraging to show that we are actually doing something for us, for our environment, for our children, but also something which is actually helping our tourism industry as well.
You know, I'm from Italy, and we also have wonderful beaches, maybe not the same kind, not the same spectacular beaches, but what would you take out of your experience in order to advise Italian authorities?
If I have any advice for the rest of the world, is that it is a bold move as a country to do, but I believe there needs to be the highest level support. A ministry alone, a tourism board alone, an NGO alone cannot do that. They need the highest level support, definitely, to implement this. But after the decision has been taken, the step has been taken, I believe the results will be more gratifying, because we just have to remember one little plastic we are consuming today, sometimes only once, and we're throwing it away. It never disintegrates in the environment. And so many of these get accumulated in the ocean. And very soon we will have more plastic in the oceans than marine animals itself. What are we doing for our children? It's insane when you think about it. The environment we are enjoying today, it's not for us only. We borrowed it from our grandparents, and we need to keep it like that for our children. So I believe firmly in these initiatives, and I strongly advise other nations to also follow.
Thank you. And what can you tell us about this year's tourism trends in your country? Is it increasing?
Yes, we've had good growth in tourism arrivals, and both tourism arrivals and tourism earnings over the last few years. This year, it's been a slow growth, 1%, but in terms of revenue, it has been more. Whenever I talk about tourism arrivals, my audience needs to understand that we are not a mass tourism destination. We are not looking for big numbers, 1 million visitors. Last year we had 350,000 tourists, and for us that was like already a huge achievement to have these numbers. At the end of the day, we're very small. What we want is that industry to keep on growing, to be able to sustain our economy and to sustain growth in the country. And ideally also, if we can get more out of each tourist landing in Seychelles, it's even better for us, because it means less impact on the environment. And of course, initiatives like these ones on plastic bans and things like that, it also help us in terms of our environmental credential, which we proudly carry the flag across the world for it. So we've been having a small, modest growth, but which we as a country, we are very happy with our achievements so far.
And how can you avoid to have more and more tourists? I mean, now you are talking to euronews, it's already a continental channel. Maybe millions will want to travel to your country right now.
I believe Seychelles, yes, we're an aspirational destinations, but yet one of the things that we always hear whenever we do our marketing or we travel the world is that they see the destination a little bit more expensive compared to some of our competitors or island destinations. If you look at maybe Mauritius or Maldives, or even in the Asian part, Bali or Philippines, they would always tell us, Seychelles is a little bit more expensive. And it's natural, we're a small island state, and we've spent a lot in terms of preserving and conserving the environment, and this environmental conservation does not come for free, unfortunately. And we want people, when they visit Seychelles, to appreciate that we are truly different from other island destinations. And what we have to offer is truly different in terms of experience. It's not just a place where you go for, it's not a place where you go for beach parties and to see crowded beaches, but a lot of people enjoy to see the pristine, clean, beautiful beaches, lush green vegetations, very, very green mountains with very little development on there. And these things have been done in line with what we want to achieve for our tourism industry. So yes, we are a bit more expensive than other islands destination, but at the same time, we do promise a different kind of experience when you visit Seychelles.
Okay, let's go back to plastics. You used the step-by-step policy, isn't it? Can you tell us each step? How did you do it?
Yes, like for example, for the plastic bans, this one was, it did not just happen overnight. There has been sensitization done, and even when the members of the public were informed about the ban, it had a bit of a time delay to allow people to adjust. So there was the announcement, and then there was a cutoff date to say, okay, this is the final date where we would accept importations and these kind of goods on the shelves, or plastic bags being given out by shops. So, but the policy of the Ministry of Environment is to gradually have other things. For example, not specifically on plastic, but the recycling of even glass bottle as well is part of the initiatives where which now very recently they've implemented the deposits on all glass items, which means now any kind of containers which is glass, you can go and get a refundable deposits on there. And eventually now there are other announcements making. Like I said again, there's been the announcement about the banning of plastic straws, that it would eventually come in force. And there is a campaign now on the single use of to not use single-use plastic, and to encourage people to have alternative, more environmentally friendly methods. So it is something which slowly but surely there's new initiatives being worked on to keep the momentum as well while we're doing it, and to make our population also adapt to a more environmentally friendly living lifestyle.
Okay, thank you so much.
Well, it's a pleasure. If I can just add, part of the Clean Up the World campaign this year, the Seychelles Tourism Board, together with the ministry, we actually participate in the Ocean Project campaign, which is an initiative being spearheaded by an NGOs, and it's basically picking. We chose a beach where it's not really frequented by a lot of tourists or locals, but picking up ocean debris on the beach and saying how much plastic bottles we can actually pick. And again, we as an organization in the tourism ministry doing our part as well in the whole process.
Okay, thank you again then. It's been a pleasure.
Okay, thank you. A real pleasure. Thank you.